Prepare to rethink everything you thought you knew. This is Mind Benders, your source for the most mind-twisting facts that will expand your understanding of the world. Let's bend some minds.
The hook and the enigma. What if I told you that our deepest, most intuitive understanding of reality is a lie? That the steady, linear march of time, the comforting progression from yesterday to today to tomorrow, is a profound and pervasive illusion? Now, what if I told you that the key to shattering this illusion wasn't discovered in a billion-dollar particle accelerator or a modern quantum lab, but was meticulously described, coded, and hidden in plain sight in texts written thousands of years ago? This is not a story about prophecy or magic. This is about a thread of human thought so radical, so counterintuitive, that for millennia it was dismissed as abstract philosophy or spiritual mysticism. Yet this ancient idea is now staring back at us from the most advanced equations of modern physics. It suggests that our ancestors, through sheer focused introspection, may have grasped a fundamental truth about the cosmos that science is only just beginning to prove. They left us what we can only call an ancient code of eternity, a description of a reality where past, present, and future do not exist as a sequence, but coexist simultaneously, as a single, unified whole. A universe that is not happening, but one that simply is. Imagine a book where every page, the first, the middle, and the last, already exist. We experience it by turning the pages one by one, creating the illusion of a story unfolding. But the entire story, from beginning to end, is already there, bound together. The ancient code suggests our universe is exactly like that book. For centuries, we've read these ancient texts as allegories, as poetic metaphors for spiritual enlightenment. We thought we understood them. We were wrong. We weren't reading a guide to the afterlife. We were reading a user's manual for the fabric of space-time itself. The question that should keep you up at night is not if they knew, but how. How could minds from the Bronze and Iron Ages possibly conceive of a reality that would take an Einstein to even begin to calculate? Join us as we attempt to decrypt the most profound secret ever hidden in human history. The first clues emerge. Our investigation begins not in the mystical East, but in the cradle of Western logic and reason, ancient Greece. Around 500 BC, a philosopher named Parmenides of Elea wrote a poem. On the surface, it was a dense metaphysical work titled On Nature. For 2,500 years, it was studied by scholars as a foundational text of ontology, the study of being. But hidden within its cryptic verses is the first key to our code. Parmenides made a claim that was, and still is, utterly shocking. He argued that everything we perceive with our senses, change, motion, birth, death, the very passage of time, is an illusion. He asserted that true reality, which he called the what is a single, unchanging, indivisible, and eternal whole. It has no beginning and no end. It is not in time, it simply and completely exists. He wrote, "It is all at once, a single whole. For what birth will you seek for it? How and from where did it grow? Nor was it ever, nor will it be, since it is now altogether one." Think about that. Nor was it ever, nor will it be, since it is now altogether. This isn't just poetry. This is a direct refutation of our experience of time. To Parmenides, there is no past to come from and no future to go to. There is only an eternal, all-encompassing now. For centuries, this was seen as a brilliant but ultimately flawed exercise in pure logic. His student Zeno famously devised paradoxes, like Achilles and the tortoise, to demonstrate how the concepts of motion and division lead to logical absurdities. These were thought experiments, intellectual games designed to support their master's bizarre worldview. It was philosophy, not physics. It was a fascinating dead end in the history of thought. Or was it? What if Parmenides wasn't just using logic? what if he had perceived something fundamental? The idea of a timeless, unified reality was so alien that it was quarantined in the realm of metaphysics. But the code wasn't isolated to Greece. Half a world away, another, entirely separate culture was describing the exact same structure of reality, using a different language but an identical blueprint. The first clue was not anomaly. It was the beginning of a pattern. Part 3. Deepening the paradox. As Greek philosophers debated the logic of a static reality, a parallel stream of thought was reaching its zenith in the Indus Valley. This was the school of Advaita Vedanta, a cornerstone of Hindu philosophy. Its central tenet is perhaps even more explicit than that of Parmenides. It states that the ultimate reality, known as Brahman, is the only thing that truly exists. Brahman is described as changeless, infinite, and undifferentiated. It is beyond time, space, and causation. According to Vedanta, the entire universe we perceive, with its billions of galaxies, its individual souls, its unfolding history, is Maya. Maya is not non-existent, but it is an illusion, a superimposition upon the true reality of Brahman. Think of it like a movie projected onto a screen. The movie has characters, a plot, a beginning, and an end. But the screen itself, the underlying reality, is unchanged by the movie playing upon it. For Vedanta, our universe is the movie and Brahman is the screen. This concept is breathtakingly similar to Parmenides' what is. Both philosophies posit a singular, eternal, unchanging reality. Both claim that our sensory experience of a world of separate objects evolving through time is a deeply misleading illusion. The odds of two completely disconnected cultures, one rooted in rigorous logic, the other in deep meditative practice, independently arriving at the exact same, profoundly counterintuitive model of the universe, are astronomically small. This is no longer a philosophical curiosity. It is a historical paradox. It's as if two ancient tribes with no contact independently invented the microchip. It forces us to ask a more challenging question. Were they both just wrong in the same way? Was this some quirk of the human mind, a cognitive bias towards unity when confronted with the chaos of existence? For 2,000 years, that was the most plausible explanation. But then, in the early 20th century, a patent clerk in Switzerland named Albert Einstein shattered that explanation forever. The scientific collision. Albert Einstein was not trying to prove ancient philosophers right. He was trying to solve a puzzle that had plagued physics, the conflict between Newton's laws of motion and Maxwell's equations of electromagnetism. The solution he devised, the theory of special relativity, would accidentally provide the mathematical foundation for the very reality Parmenides and the Vedantic sages had described. At the heart of relativity is a revolutionary idea, the unification of space and time into a single four-dimensional continuum called spacetime. This is not just a clever name. It means that time is a physical dimension, just as length, width, and height. This single idea has a consequence so profound that many physicists are still uncomfortable with it today. It's called the block universe. If time is a physical dimension, then just as all of space exists, all of time must also exist. The past, the present, and the future are not things that happen and then disappear. They are simply different locations in the four-dimensional block of spacetime. Your birth, you reading this sentence right now, and every moment of your future are all equally real, existing as coordinates within this block. Time doesn't flow. Consciousness simply experiences it slice by slice, moment by moment, creating the powerful illusion of passage. Suddenly, Parmenides claimed that reality is now, altogether, one continuous, sounds less like metaphysics and more like a plain language description of a four-dimensional manifold. His denial of a past and future is perfectly consistent with a reality where all moments exist simultaneously. And the Vedantic concept of Brahman and Maya, it maps almost perfectly. Brahman is the block universe itself, the complete, unchanging, eternal reality of spacetime. Maya is our subjective experience, our consciousness crawling through the block, perceiving only a single moving present and creating the illusory drama of life unfolding. The ancient sages described the territory. Einstein drew the map. They used the language of introspection, he used the language of mathematics, but they were both describing the very same thing. Part 5. The Promised Payoff. For centuries, these two streams of thought, ancient metaphysics and modern physics, flowed separately. Philosophers debated the eternal now in quiet university halls, while physicists calculated the curvature of spacetime in advanced laboratories. The two were seen as fundamentally incompatible, one subjective and spiritual, the other objective and mathematical. But what we've just seen is that this separation was the greatest intellectual mistake of the last millennium. When we place Parmenides' poem next to Einstein's equations, when we compare the teachings of Vedanta to the implications of relativity, the parallels are too precise to be coincidence. This is not a case of finding vague patterns where none exist. It's a case of two different languages describing a single, shocking truth about the nature of existence. The answer to our puzzle isn't just a fascinating historical footnote. It is a revelation that reframes our entire understanding of knowledge itself. It suggests that the deepest truths of the cosmos are accessible through more than one path. One path is the external, objective method of science: observation, experimentation, and mathematics. The other is a path we have largely forgotten in the modern world: the internal, subjective method of pure, disciplined introspection. We are about to fully decode what these ancient sages were truly trying to tell us. The ancient code of eternity was not a prophecy of the future. It was a description of the nature of the future and the past and the present. They had cracked the code of space-time not with telescopes or particle colliders, but with the power of the human mind turned inward upon itself. The final piece of the puzzle is to understand not just what they knew, but what it means for us, here, right now. Part 6. The Profound Conclusion. The final revelation is this: the ancient code of eternity was never a mystical fantasy or a primitive guess. It was a stunningly accurate, non-mathematical description of the block universe. Parmenides' unmoving, eternal sphere of being and Vedanta's timeless, all-encompassing Brahman were not metaphors. They were models of reality. They were the conclusions reached by minds that had, through intense contemplation, quieted the noise of sensory illusion and perceived the underlying, static, four-dimensional structure of space-time. They saw the whole book, not just the page we are on. They didn't have the math, so they used the language they had: poetry, philosophy, and spiritual discourse. They spoke of the one, of the eternal now, of the unreality of change. And we, in our modern sophistication, dismissed it as myth, when in fact it may have been the most profound physics report ever written. They didn't need to travel to the stars. They traveled into the nature of consciousness itself and found the structure of the cosmos reflected within. This realization is both deeply humbling and incredibly empowering. It validates science, yes, but it also elevates ancient wisdom from the realm of curiosity to the realm of essential knowledge. It tells us that we have more tools to understand reality than we currently use. But here is the final, mind-bending thought that this conclusion forces upon us. If the block universe is real, if the past, present, and future all exist right now, what does that mean for our most cherished belief: free will? Are we simply actors reading from a script that has already been written from beginning to end? Is every choice you've ever made and ever will make already a fixed part of the space-time block? Or is there a twist? Perhaps our consciousness is not just a passive observer, but the very thing that animates the now, the projector that brings a single frame of the cosmic film to life. Our choices might be real in the moment of their making, etching themselves into the block as they happen. The ancient code of eternity, once deciphered, doesn't end the mystery, it deepens it. It solves the riddle of what the universe is, only to leave us with the ultimate question of who we are within it. The ancients gave us the map. But the journey, it seems, has only just begun.
The world is full of fascinating paradoxes, isn't it? We hope today's facts truly bent your mind. If you're ready for more daily revelations that challenge the norm, subscribe to Mindbenders. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss a new video. Until next time, keep questioning.